Mom gets 15 years after fleeing to protect son. An elaborate scheme to capture her. An Ohio mom was just sentenced to a draconian 10 to 15 years in prison after fleeing to protect her son from sexual abuse. This excessive sentence for a protective mother with no criminal history is insane, especially considering she was not married to the father and had custody of her baby when she fled the state. In this case, as so many, a cadre of colluders collaborate in an elaborate and fraudulent scheme to capture and severely punish an errant woman who's escaped the clutches of her baby's father. The colluders include, but are not limited to, family and criminal court judges, police, detectives, city prosecutors, and a district attorney. They pulled out all the stops to take down this uppity woman who dared leave the father of her child, a doctor at that. This mama did not go down without a fight, though. She made a super-valiant effort to protect her baby, even hiring attorneys and litigating from hiding. She had no way of knowing this, but no matter how smart or right she was legally, nothing would have changed the outcome. It was rigged from the get-go. And as she would belatedly discover, everyone in the intertwined systems could and would violate laws and rights in service of preserving a man's entitlement in the family after separation. More on that in the takeaways, but first, Erica's story. Erica had a successful career in higher education and healthcare in Ohio before becoming a victim of the custody crisis. In 2020, she matched with Chad on a dating site. He was a doctor who she felt mirrored her desire to serve others. He swept her off her feet, promising their shared dreams would come true and they would have a future together. About a year into their relationship, she moved in with him in Massachusetts, where Chad had gotten a medical position. This is when the abuse began: physical, sexual, and emotional. At first, it was just emotional abuse, berating her, calling her names, etc. Then the sexual abuse began, and soon he began raping her. Quote, his cruelty extended to inappropriate behavior, such as masturbating under a blanket while they watched TV together, dismissing her discomfort by telling her to look away. He also touched her in ways she found repulsive, dragging his thumbnail across her anus despite her repeated objections. Unquote. Erica became pregnant. He is happy and says that now she is stuck with him. Quote, his abuse continued, including forcing her to perform oral sex under the guise of preventing preeclampsia, grabbing her head while she was in bed. Unquote. By February 2022, Erica could no longer endure the abuse and moved back to Ohio, but he followed her, getting a job nearby. In August, Erica gave birth to Robbie. She moved back in with Chad while vulnerable and recovering from a C-section. Erica was horrified when she discovered him fondling Robbie's genitals during unnecessary diaper changes. Quote, he pulled on the baby's foreskin, fondled his testicles, and made crude remarks. Unquote. He would also do the same invasive touching he would do to Erica, dragging his thumbnail along the baby's anus and stick his finger inside. She audiotaped him talking about this abuse. That's when she began planning her escape. On January 31st, 2023, Erica left for Florida after securing a job there. Since there was no family court case, Erica automatically had custody as an unmarried mother. She could go whatever and do whatever she wanted, including cutting off contact with Chad, which she did. A month later, Chad filed a motion for emergency custody in Franklin County, but it was dismissed by Judge Douglas Nobles because there was no emergency. So he refiled as a motion for temporary custody. Judge Nobles handed the case off to a magistrate, probably because jurisdiction was in Florida, since Erica had custody and was living there, and he wanted no part of that fraud. In May, Magistrate Brandy Cassone granted Chad temporary custody, even though Erica had not been noticed or served, nor had jurisdiction been established. She even admitted her order could be overturned. Enter the city prosecutor, who charged Erica with a serious misdemeanor charge of custodial interference which carried a jail sentence. This is when she discovered she had lost custody and been criminally charged. It was the prosecutor's job to intimidate and trick Erica into engaging in custody proceedings in Ohio. She informed Erica the only way she would dismiss the criminal charge is if she filed for emergency custody in Franklin County. So now there was an emergency? Right. Erica did not yet realize she was being tricked, but she would later call this the setup. Erica filed the motion for emergency custody as instructed. She hired a criminal and family court attorney, believing that would help. To her credit, she was wary. She feared being arrested, but did not think they would do that if she cooperated. She was hopeful the judge would see the light and do the right thing. Fat chance of that. She had been told she must bring Robbie with her to the hearing, but Erica was smart to not do that. She didn't want to risk him being taken from her at the courthouse, and she had other plans too. Magistrate Casson would not allow Erica or her attorney to present any of the corroborating evidence of Chad's abuse of Robbie or her, no witnesses, audio tapes, or 18 other forms of testimony. On the other hand, Chad did not have to testify or be cross-examined. He had earlier taken the fifth when asked if he had molested Robbie, and everybody knows innocent people do not take the fifth. When it became clear Casson had no intention of protecting Robbie, Erica went to the restroom and changed into a disguise. Nobody knew she was in the courtroom while she watched as the judge gave Chad sole custody. Victory. Erica had outsmarted them and gotten away. She went deeper into hiding, moving to Washington State. The new custody order was signed off by Judge Nobles as permanent. They also lied and said she had taken Robbie from Franklin County. That gave Ohio jurisdiction in both the family and criminal cases. So the setup had worked. The stage was set for everything else leading up to her inevitable imprisonment. Enter the DA, who collaborated in the scheme by charging Erica with felony custodial interference and felony kidnapping. Now she was facing up to 15 years in prison. An especially onerous female detective got on the case and pursued Erica relentlessly, all along the way lying and deceiving, and now she and Robbie could be added to missing persons/abductors lists, like NCMEC. Amazingly, Erica kept fighting from hiding through her attorneys. This included appeals, which she won. She even attended hearings by Zoom. She kept believing they would do the right thing. How could they not? How could they give her baby to a man who had admitted to molesting their baby? She could not wrap her brain around how so many professionals would do this. Erica decided to tell her story on social media, exposing the bias and corruption in the hope something could help her. She even approached senators and representatives who were sympathetic, but they have no real power in custody cases. This type of outreach and continued litigating while in hiding is unprecedented. It was heroic, but may have led to her downfall. In March 2025, Erica's home in Washington was raided by a SWAT team. They broke down her door with a battering ram and pointed AR-15s at her in front of a terrified little Robbie. A bit much force to arrest a little old mommy with a 2-year-old, don't you think? Turns out the disgusting pick-me detective lied to Vancouver PD saying Erica was armed and dangerous. She also provided them with an invalid search warrant. Erica was arrested, and Robbie handed over on a silver platter to his molester. Erica was held for 4 days before being released, when the warrant was found to be invalid. She returned to Franklin County to fight the charges against her there. She was bonded out for $100,000. Enter the person who turns out to be the nastiest villain in a story full of villains, Judge Chris Brown, the criminal court judge. Judge Brown was obviously biased against Erica from the start. Of course, he was the final nail in the coffin in the whole scheme. He had recently let a child molester off with just probation, so he was perfect for the job. Maybe his pedo-friendliness is why he was assigned Erica's case. Long story short, Judge Brown did everything in his power to steer the case against Erica, excluding evidence, witnesses, etc. The main problem in these cases is that the defense of fleeing domestic abuse and protecting a child is disabled in practice via the judge and jury instructions. Jurors are led to believe they are obligated to convict if the letter of the law is broken. So, on August 29th, after a week-long trial in which Erica was deprived of her primary defense, she was convicted of felony 1 kidnapping and felony 5 interference with custody. Judge Brown ordered immediate incarceration until sentencing on October 2nd. The pre-sentencing report recommended no prison time, just probation. The prosecutors asked for 2 to 4 years, but instead, the despicable Judge Brown took it upon himself to override the recommendations and sentence Erica to the max, 10 to 15 years in prison with no eligibility for reform programs or early release. Unbelievable. Or not. He's probably going to get muchos kudos from the old boys. This case provides a warning for mothers to make as clean of an escape as possible. If Erica had known the system was rigged, she may have gotten away for longer. She would have not wasted her time and money fighting for justice after she left, but she would likely have been caught eventually. The only way for mothers is to reliably escape is to get away to a country that does not extradite, which Erica could have easily done having had custody when she left. But there are not many of those countries, and the International Old Boy Network is busy finding ways to plug that loophole. See our previous column, Captured in Cyprus. Is this Underground Railroad stop now defunct? About how a mom was caught even though she was in a non-extraditing country. Although Judge Brown is the pedo-friendly supervillain in this case, he is not the leader of the scheming pack. The family court judge is always responsible. Without Judge Nobles signing off on the custody order, the case would not have made it to criminal court. This is a really good case to illustrate how the elaborate and fraudulent scheme works, how all the players from different systems collaborate in effecting the old boy agenda of keeping men empowered in the family, especially, it seems, men who want to act on their age-old prerogative to molest their own children. And, of course, how women who dare challenge this male entitlement are destroyed in the process. Normal people just cannot fathom that so many highly esteemed professionals would collude in enabling a child molester and destroying a mother who is simply doing what society dictates she must, protecting her child. So please share her story. The public needs to know what is going on. The sad truth is there really is no good way for a woman to escape the father of her child, Ren. Women are essentially trapped once they have a baby. Just like Chad said, "Now you're stuck with me." He knew, they all know, but most women do not yet. Women need to be informed that patriarchy is not dead and is in full force in family courts and all relevant systems. The family is patriarchy's first and last stand, and family court is there to ensure men's age-old property, right to their children, is upheld, in practice, if not law, after divorce or separation. As Kate Millett said, patriarchy's chief institution is the family. Erica is one more woman's life sacrificed on the persisting patriarchal altar. Join the Women's Coalition, where we are getting the truth out and gathering troops to fight for a new system at womenscoalition.org. What's next? Incredibly, Chad has filed to receive child support while Erica is in prison, as if 15 years of incarceration is not enough revenge, and this is a forever debt. The hearing is November 4th. Will it be granted? Stay tuned. Judge Chris Brown is campaigning for election to the appellate court. If you are from Ohio, share this story and spread the word about his unjust and disgusting treatment of women and enabling of pedophiles. Maybe it will provide a shred of accountability if he is not elected. Finally, if you'd like to communicate with Erica and give her much-needed support and solace, you can text or write her at the Franklin County Prison. For more information, go to her advocate's Facebook group, linked below. For the links to her social media, see this story on our Substack page. In other news, Teresa gets visits. In another story we covered where the mother was caught after fleeing to 4 different countries in her pursuit of protection, she is now allowed visitation with her son, Luca. Actor versus model. Custody battle spans 4 continents and 10 years. https womenscoalition.substack.com. P. Actor versus model. Custody battle spans. Teresa is allowed a 4-hour visit every Saturday and Sunday, plus 2 phone calls a week. This is great, but the truth is, she should have sole custody. That's our story for today. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you next week for another custody crisis story.